So my name is Brian McKinney. For those of you who don't know me, I am I have a title of some sort. It's comms director, comms person, social media gal, doer of the things, many different hats. I've been involved in nonprofitry and do-goodery and helping with small business development and outreach in the Treasure Valley for almost a decade now. And so many of you know me, but for those I haven't met yet, I'm happy to meet you. We have a really exciting nonprofit success lab for you today. We've compiled, it's the Marvel character bringing together of superstars and superheroes in their respective fields
Oh,
for motivating and mobilizing Idahoans and people that we know really understand how to connect people, how to get people to, get up off their chairs and stand up and go do this amazing good work that they're doing. And so it's just, they were hand selected. And so you're in for a real great experience. So one by one, we're going to have them introduce themselves and give a little bit of a backstory on who they are. And the way that I would like to have them introduce themselves is by answering a simple question in any way that they feel best, which is describe your journey. What brought you here? What brought you to the person that you are today and the things that you're doing right now? And you can go in any order, or I can pick if you're shy. Pick. Okay, so Ken, you're top right to me, so in no particular order.
all right, all right. Well, welcome everyone to this Success Lab. I'm certainly excited to be here. And the question of how did we get here? Wow, I could take the entire hour, Brianne, talking about that. I'm going to encourage you all to look at my LinkedIn account. I've had a very, very interesting career, and one I will say, dare I say, as I look back, kind of in preparation for today, I really look back and kind of marvel at the opportunities and the doors that open along the way. And so my career is one of go someplace where I'm terrified to do a job, and then try to do it really well, and have had some favor in that regard, and certainly have fallen flat on my face in that regard as well. But through a series of events, I've had a lot of opportunities where leaders like Mayor Tammy or Connie Miller or community leaders tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you'd be perfect for this opportunity," or whatever. And so I've walked through a lot of those doors and have had a whole heck of a lot of fun, um, you know, launching public involvement campaigns and trying to find innovative ways to connect the public to the causes. And I don't believe in charity; I believe in problem solving. So I do think that we have a lot of Idahoans in the runner's blocks, just waiting for the gun to go off. Um, so yeah, it's been a series of just opportunities for me where folks say, "Come over and set up this business development item," or, "Hey, would you be interested in launching this nonprofit board or whatever?" So it's been a lot of fun, and I think that perhaps the superpower that I've learned along the way is I've taken nuggets from every place that I think really has made me effective in my role as a development official in the community here. So, did I answer your question, Bree?
Yeah, what are you doing currently right now? What are you most
Yeah,
famous for at this particular
thank
moment?
you. That's a great question. Yeah. So, if you are aware, look, I have a commercial right in back of me here. I am the leader of the Idaho Housing Foundation, and our signature event that we just concluded is Avenues for Hope. Last year, we had so much fun. That's kind of what I'm known for, as being high energy, like to have a lot of fun along the way. We had a $6 million a year last year, which was amazing for the nonprofits. Idaho Partners for Good was one of our participants. So it feels good to connect the community to the cause of avenues. And so I'm only 2 years in, but we're just getting started under my leadership. So it's a lot of fun, and we've got some big plans ahead of us.
Thank you, Ken. All right, Jen, you're the next person to my right, Gemma Fur. And you want me to explain why we call you that?
You know, yes.
So, as we know, Idaho is the gem state. And over the last pushing, yeah, we were around about the same time. We kind of met each other about the same time. She has become just such an influential, not flashy, but just putting her head down, doing the work, trying to connect people and build Idaho and support Idaho businesses and nonprofits. That's kind of a nickname that has been passed around, was Jennifer. So, Jen, I'll let you explain a little bit about how you got here and what you do.
All right. Well, I honestly, I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years and I started businesses in my home to keep from going crazy. And I got an opportunity to work with By Idaho with Sandy Anderson, who's now at the Boise Chamber. And mind you, I had been at home for 10 years. So when I came into By Idaho, I was like, let's do events. Let's go engage the community. And Sandy gave me free reign and I created 87 events that first year. And she said, okay, slow down. And then she decided to go over to the Boise Chamber and left me the reins with By Idaho. And it's been great. My history's in social work. So really, I work with people. I figure out their problems. I try to solve their problems in the community, get them to the resources. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. But I definitely am not afraid to knock down doors and ask gatekeepers to get people to the resources that they need. And then hopefully engage the community and let them know why it's important that you choose local businesses over big box, you know,
Those guys.
Yeah.
those other people, which are
Yeah.
they all have place in our world, right? But I mean, if you see the Amazon packages at my door sometimes, I would be mortified. However, you also have to shop local and support our neighborhood. So that's what I do.
Thank you. So, Bailey, tell us why you're here, why you were handpicked as being such an enigmatic member of our community.
Thank you for having me. So my journey's been pretty wild. I could probably like Ken go on about an hour describing the whole thing, but the short story of it is I'm originally from Payette, moved to Boise to go to school, knowing a couple guys, and fast forward graduation, getting into a finance job and getting into sales. I love people first off. Like I'm addicted to people in general and love to get to know people on a deeper level. And throughout my journey, I was able to meet a lot of wonderful people here in Idaho. And I kind of was getting upset that I'd have to wait until the next event that we mutually went to. And so I got a group of people together for lunch and they're like, "Man, you should start a networking group up." And I'm like, I'm 25. I haven't even landed my first client yet for our business, and I'm not successful yet or an owner. And they're like, just do it. And you should name it Talking Tacos. So I pondered it for 6 months and then I pulled the trigger on it. And I invited a bunch of friends, gave them a call, sent a calendar invite out, and said, "Hey, would you want to come for all you could eat tacos at Z's rooftop? And we're just going to talk about life and work and no agenda." And so I reserved a table for 25, and all 25 came, and a student I was mentoring at the time, and it was wonderful. And so right after that, I was like, how do I organize an event that people want to keep going back to and they'll just keep returning? And so part of my vision board at Echelon Group was nonprofits. They're a business that needs a service just like any other business, and our company does company retirement plans at a high level. And so I wanted to help the HR focus on what they're good at and let us manage their account. And so part of that reason nonprofits were is when I went to other networking groups, each ones are all different, but majority there wasn't a lot of nonprofit presence, and so I had them be the pillar for Talking Tacos. And so at the very beginning, it was two business professionals and a nonprofit. Each month it would rotate so they could share like their resource and what they do. And so that way the crowd can say, "Oh, I might need that resource," or "I have a friend that wants it as well." So it just kind of grew after that. And 25, the next one I called 100 friends up and it was 67. And then now it's been a year and it's been amazing to connect with everyone and just pull everyone together and just get to know other people outside your industry. So yeah, thanks for having me, everyone.
Absolutely. All right, so Blossom, do you want to pick our first question or do you want me to?
Go ahead, Brian.
So this is the kind of an interesting thing because I think a lot of us come into these positions that we would have never imagined. It was not on our bingo card, that we would ever be doing what we're doing, or that people would be describing us, the way that they're describing us. And so I framed the question as I'm assuming a lot of us already didn't describe ourselves as being this mover of people, this mobilizer. And so a better way to frame this question is, when did you first notice that you were good at mobilizing people? And you can all go at once or you can go one at a time.
I'll break the ice on this for you, Brianne. So the question is when did we notice when we can mobilize people?
Like, I'm good at
You know,
this.
I have a very, I was with Stevens Henniger College, which is now a defunct for-profit school. Brianne, actually, for the guests on the call, she took the role I was in after I departed the school. So a little tie to Brianne there. Um, at the time, we were really struggling to bring live bodies to the campus, and we had no budget to do anything. This is, gosh, 2010, so 15, 16 years ago, in that era. And I had gone to a trunk or treat the weekend before. It was around that time of the year with my preschool daughter, and I thought, you know what, that's pretty cool. This is really cool. Trunk or treats were just kind of getting started at that time, and so I thought, what if we did a trunk or treat at the Stevens Henniger parking lot with a twist? What if we have local businesses hand out candy to the kiddos, but then also anything promotional, something very unique promotional to the parents as they walk by? And so I kind of like Bailey, younger guy, kind of hungry to make a name and get started. So we did it at the Stevens Henniger campus out by the Nampa Costco. There used to be out there. And we ended up getting like 100 businesses. We had 5,000 people show up, and we did it free. We did it with piggyback marketing. And that's really like I was a teacher before that. So, I mean, I was an elementary school teacher, not knowing I could do this type of thing. Terrifying, but so much fun. And I know that they continued to do that for a couple of years. And then I
Wow.
took my act on the road to the city of Meridian. And so the city of Meridian's trunk or treat originated at Stevens Henniger, believe it or not. So there you go. So there's my answer for you, Brian.
All right, Jen, when did you notice that you were good at mobilizing people?
When people showed up.
Yes.
I mean, I can't even tell you. Like the first couple events that I did, I was like, I mean, we're a nonprofit. We have no marketing budget, right? And I started with Buy Idaho like 6 days before the 30th anniversary.
Hmm.
So I kind of came in very green and we had this huge event. I mean, the governor was speaking at it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is big. I'm out of my jammies and yoga pants, and now all of a sudden, like I'm having drinks with the governor. Okay, what are we doing now? So, building those events and kind of riding on that, and people wanting to be engaged. People want to know their community. So, we did concerts in our courtyard. We did holiday markets, we did different farmers markets. We did lots of networking after hours, highlighting businesses, and people came. So that was really cool. Um, and they paid attention. And back then it wasn't so loud in social media and whatnot. It wasn't, you weren't constantly inundated with things, and people were just starting to kind of use social media to get connected. And but it was a lot of phone calls, emails, and personal connection. And I think that that's still the way that it is. You have to be personally connected to people, and word of mouth, and you just can't suck. I mean, your reputation has to be
Yeah.
stellar. I mean, people want to come to things that have, a good vibe, and they know that everybody's welcome. So
That's great. All right, Bailey, how about you? When did you notice? You're like, oh wow, I can actually do this. What was that epiphany moment?
Yeah, a lot about what Jen said. Like when I first did the first one with the 25 people and like the ones fall after that, I realized I enjoyed like I favorite day of the month. Like I just love everyone coming together and I was able to like curate it and also hit those kind of pain points, or not pain points, but like focus on the experience for the attendees 100%. Like I was very methodical beforehand. I've kept every single business card anyone I've ever met. And the one thing I've noticed is like when you get invited to an event, if you register, maybe there's a calendar link that you could put on yours, maybe there isn't. And so that's how I started, was having a calendar invite on their calendar. So like they see it on social media, but they always see it there. If anything happens, then they can come. So that was a huge help, and people really appreciate that. And that's what I share with other people too, is if you could do a calendar invite, don't make them accept it, just like have it open for them as an opportunity. And so, yeah, that second, third one, that's when I really realized I was like, I love this, and people are showing up and they are welcome. And it's whatever situation in your life that you're going through, my event's welcome for you. If you just want to sit down and chomp on some tacos and listen to some presenters, perfect. If you want to mingle with people, great. If you want to collaborate with me or me help you out, or let's just work together. So the vibe was very important for me to set, and that's why I did it private for 8 months, is to set that atmosphere.
Awesome. Thank
Mm.
you. So there's a couple of things that all three of you said that made me think of one of my other questions that I had. Um, so this is kind of what we always say, unprecedented times, because times are always unprecedented, right? There's a lot of stress and strife, and there's a lot of opportunities for people to be as absolutely as divisive as they want to be, if that's their personality type. So I heard you both mention, belonging and people feeling, like they were welcomed and feeling accepted. So what are some ways, practically, that you've lowered those barriers so that everyone feels included, everyone feels invited, everyone feels like they see themselves in that room. They want to be here and they feel comfortable walking into this space. We can just keep going in order. That works. Yeah, if Ken, you want to start?
Certainly. So, a lot of the items that I think nonprofits focus on in a world that, dare I say, is perceived as divided. Some folks see it that way. I use a phrase all the time. The older folks will get this one, if you were a kid of the 80s and 90s, but a lot of these have become purple passion. So you might know what purple passion is, you 80s and 90s kids. But I joke about it. I actually went to an event recently. My first thing out of my mouth was, "Who's a Democrat or who's a Republican?" And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And I said, "Just kidding, just kidding." Because the reality is, you guys, is a lot of most of what we focus on in the nonprofit sector are purple passion things. Purple is the color of royalty and nobility, and so I frame it as such. And I think when you can start kind of talking about the barriers that everyone has in their mind, in other words, talk about the elephant in the room, and then if you genuinely care, and I think that's the most important thing, is the human who is driving the bus, pushing the levers, pushing the buttons, whatever. If that person is not genuine and cares about other human beings, Bailey was talking about the love of humans and the love of our community. That's certainly my jam. And I know Jen and Bailey and a lot of nonprofit leaders, that's their jam as well. So I think it comes back to the makeup of the individual. What's your life experience? What's your viewpoint? And are you in fact inviting to people? Because if you're not, that people are going to see right through it. People who need the assistance of nonprofits, excuse my language, but a lot of them, most of them have a really good BS meter.
Mhm.
And so you need to be genuine, I think, in this role if you're going to do that. So there you go.
Thank you. All right, Jen?
It is actually knowing your people, right? Like we have almost 1,500 members, And I can tell you something about pretty much almost everybody. I was at Field to Fork the other day. I think I hugged 250 people, and I'm still healthy somehow. So, but just seeing people and knowing about them, caring about them, they are seen, they are heard, they want to be involved. They know that you're genuinely vested in their success. And, in our organization, sometimes it's not just business, right? I mean, sometimes people are getting divorced and they need an attorney. They need somebody that they can trust. They need a financial advisor to help them separate their businesses from their personal stuff. I mean, we run the gamut. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all social work. It's caring about the people that we're working with. And, success in business can sometimes start at home. Like if your world is a mess, your business will suffer. So, Greta and I work really hard in knowing our people and just really having personal relationships. I mean, we give people our cell phone numbers, where text us, call us, we are accessible. So, we will get texts at 11 o'clock at night sometimes. The wheels are coming off and that's okay. It's okay. So yeah.
Thank you. Bailey, what do you have to say?
Question, I was switching Wi-Fi's.
Oh.
Thank you. What was the question? Sorry.
So you've done a really great job getting all sorts of different people from all sorts of different, every little pocket of niche, in the Treasure Valley. You've done a great job at that. How have you gone about intentionally making it so that everyone can look in that room and go, yes, this is a place that I want to be. This is a place that I feel comfortable. How have you made everyone feel welcome and invited and ready to be involved?
Yeah. So from the get-go, it was just people that I knew. And when I would meet more friends, I would get coffee with them. Or if they saw the post and they were interested in coming and we couldn't meet for coffee, I love talking on the phone. And so I would have a phone call with them and get to know them. So that way I could understand kind of what they're going through, what they're looking for, and then explain what they're going to be walking into. And then I can only explain so much on what the Talking Tacos is about. And it's really just you have to come experience it yourself to see how it is and how you feel. Like it's different for everyone, but just communicating and seeing what they're going through and just having an open mind. Like one thing that helped me in my career was working at a coffee shop in Ontario, Oregon called Jolts and Juice. And
Oh, yeah.
for me that changed my life because I realized people were coming in to talk to me. I had 30 seconds to see, am I going to continue this conversation from last time or are we going to talk about something else? Because you just never know what anyone's going through, even a friend or whatever. So you just got to treat everyone the same, but also just be curious too, I guess. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, can I lean in for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of collective wisdom on this Nonprofit Success Lab, and I want to tap that because we have launched Our Idaho Neighbor to Neighbor. And this particular Nonprofit Success Lab is around one of our pillars, which is mobilizing Idahoans. Here's the question that I want everybody to weigh on, either via chat or if you want to come on camera. Great. All right. Here is the challenge. How do you make the invisible visible and actionable? How do you make the invisible, whether it's people groups, causes, etc., visible and actionable? Do you have research you want to share with us? Specific tips? Is there an assessment? So think about how would you go about, and maybe you've already done it very successfully, but we want to start collecting some data from y'all. So either come on camera and unmute or put it into the chat.
I think I know my camera's not on, but something that I've always seen activate and get people moving in a room has been meeting people with a similar story as to the mission you're trying to go for. With um advocating the legislators, which was something that I did the other day. You know, initially everyone was excited, but it was that same excitement that you're like, let's do this thing, but I'm not sure what it's for. But the moment that they saw someone who was going through it, it was like, this is real. This is happening to people. Let's make a change. And so that really did help motivate the room. And just, I watched everyone just go, let's go get this.
Awesome. Thank you,
I
James.
want to add to that too. James, you made me think about how the times when I go out and tell my story, every time people come up from the audience afterwards and they were invisible before, but they feel seen and they make themselves visible. So telling your story and then giving them somewhere to go or something to do afterwards, totally. From invisible to visible and then action. Action.
Yes. Definitely for me, I had to have a lot of contact in actually outreaching a lot of people um, to know who I am, for one, and then also about the mission that I serve because I'm a part of a couple different nonprofits. Um, but where it started for me was the Idaho Pacific Islanders and the Island Festival, and it all was by videotaping real reactions, real scenarios that were happening in the community. It wasn't necessarily scripted. It wasn't necessarily like, let's do this and put it together. It was just actually for me filming real things happening in real life and people connecting to it. And so I know when I first started doing nonprofit work, it was inviting people to dance classes. We had a dance, we put it out to the community if you want to come and join, and people started to come and join. After that, it just kind of snowballed, at least for me, into different avenues of where I could help. And that led me right into the Good Network, where we kind of do the same thing. We visually show what our mission is, what our help is, and people connect to it. But that's something that's really helped me in my work.
All right, I'm going to follow up with a question back to the panelists. How do you rise above the noise?
I'll start with that. And I can also kind of address the last question to the panel here at large. You're right, Blossom, the noise. And I think if you do it right, if you know these marginalized communities that need a voice that don't always have the voice, we can offer a megaphone to them. But I think it takes intentional people to go and find them who have a heart and passion to want to reach a hand out and say, hey, we're here to help you. But then you have to tell the story, right? And if you can do it in a way that can garner attention from influencers or or sponsors or partners, and then use the storytelling mechanisms effectively, i.e., social media with very strategic tagging and checking in, etc. Um, you have a shot at really becoming prominent in the sea of social media because there's so much noise around it. I personally have found success in cutting through the noise by activating our partners, the folks who care about the marginalized committee. Instead of just taking their money, I want to actually say, hey, let's get you involved. Interfaith Sanctuary, we can support them. I can grab money from Idaho Central Credit Union, and that is wonderful. But what makes it even better is when we all come together to create and build the beds that the clientele over there are going to need. So activation of funding partners is a great way to cut through the noise because they're going to share it on their own social contents. So, but you have to be intentional with your storytelling. You have to tag. And I've noticed as we get more sophisticated with social media, I stick to the boomer tools of tagging people, of inviting them to like the page, or if I create an event on social media, actually inviting people to it. So I think we all are trying to bubble up. We personally, I mean, we've had success here by telling the stories, connecting them to Idahoans who don't know what it is. And we've used media for that, CBS and radio, things like that. And then once you connect those dots to funding partners and you can activate both sides, good things happen. So hopefully that helps.
All right, I guess it's my turn. I mean, I put something in the chat about, just having conversations with your people, right? As a leader, I always thought that, like I'm just going to build things and they're going to come. I'm going to do things and people are just going to come because why wouldn't they? And then you start talking with your members and really getting down into the need of what is lacking in the community. And I mean, that's where the wholesale market came from. I 2 years ago launched the wholesale market because people were asking, how do we get our products on shelves? I have no idea. Let's go figure it out,
Let's
right?
find out.
So, I got a call from the Boise airport. The buyer was coming in and she needed to get to like 26 different categories to get products on the shelves at the Boise airport. And I kind of chuckled. She's coming from Atlanta. And I said, I know that you think Boise is small, but you're not getting around to 26 different establishments in one afternoon to go get products onto the shelves. So we did a curated buying event, private buying in our office, and that was the launch of the wholesale market.
Mm.
So I did it by myself the first year, and with Greta and Brian, and our lovely team of do-gooders, and it did okay, and people were excited about it. So, but then how do I keep it going, and how do I actually get it past our super centric Caldwell, Boise area, right? So it's collaboration with other agencies, with other organizations, and talking with Idaho Preferred, Fair Idaho, Hispanic Foundation, BBB. I mean, people who have a statewide reach who realize that we're not in competition. A lot of people think that we're in competition with these other organizations. We're not. We have very different paths that we're on, and we do a lot of overlap, but we help in different ways. So that collaboration between those organizations and everybody else empowering their people to come be involved and engaging them, and then that outreach is what we do because we have zero budget, so we rely on all of our partners and our community to help us get the word out. So that's how we get above the noise. We just hope that our little spider web of connections in the community help out.
What Ken said about partnering or your partners are very important. I didn't realize that at first, and I was just doing it alone and got a lot of anxiety and stress and trying to balance speakers, keeping the tone, energy, and my personality. And organically, I just met friends who were interested, and I was like, "Do you want to be a partner of Reese Connect?" And they're like, "What is Reese Connect?" I'm like, "It's my personal brand and who I am, but it conjoins all the organizations that I'm a part of. So being an ambassador for the Boise Chamber, the Idaho Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, um, being on the board of directors at BSU alumni, I kind of conjoin all, and that's how I get a diverse group of people attending, which is very critical for who I am because I want these people to mash. But those partners were very important. I met a lot of them at the Idaho Nonprofit Center Conference 4 years ago, and just BZ Creative is one of the first companies I met with, and they're a marketing company that support nonprofits. And he also created a nonprofit that does videography, where videographers around town donate their time to shoot for nonprofits who can't afford it. And so that's just one example. There's many. I have 11 other partners who are great human beings, and that has been able to make Reese Connect Talking Tacos grow, and having us come together for the mission of just helping the Idaho community. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a for-profit, let's have the nonprofit and for-profit collab. And that's what's happening. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And I'm glad that I had a friend mention that you should create a board of directors, and I call them their partners, really. So that's how I try to raise above all the chaos.
Awesome. So something that I always like to talk to people about is that, having to, I mean, you can reinvent the wheel, but you don't have to, unless you're really motivated to do it. Something you've tried, maybe somebody else has already tried that and there's a reason why it's not happening. And that is because it doesn't, those type of conversations. So what's a mistake that you've made trying to mobilize and engage people? And could you share that with us? And so those of us that are listening, that maybe haven't got the opportunity to make that exact same mistake can prevent ourselves from doing so.
I guess I've been kicking us off on all these, so I'll jump in here. Um, in Idaho, board fatigue is a real thing, right? So you only have so many C-suite folks who can join a board, and a lot of them have revolving doors, and a lot of them are tired to fundraise or et cetera. You have a lot of nonprofits; they all need a board, et cetera. And so I was hired as an interim director with the American Cancer Society to build out a board. And they gave me a year to do it, just to build the board. Completely fair deal. And so I took the time to study effective boards around here. And I really came across the Boys and Girls Club of Ada County because they have a very large board, but they have a signature event that I was really eyeing, which is the Wild West Auction. They do a really good job. They cut through the noise like we're talking about. And I noticed, and I'll just share with you what I saw there if it helps our colleagues on the call here, which is they do a good job of storytelling. They have people dressing up as cowboys and cowgirls. Alcohol is flowing, which means selfies are flowing, which means money is coming in. I mean, let's get real. That was what's happening there. I wanted to duplicate those same efforts with the American Cancer Society board, and honestly had an amazing board. I had 24 people of movers and shakers. And where I went wrong, because I had this amazing, you talked about the Avengers, I had them all lined up. And I wrongfully assumed that, if I give you these high level charges, you'll go do it. When in reality, the success of the Boys and Girls Club is they took that very large board and they put them in subcommittees with very targeted roles. Everyone knew exactly what they were doing. And I had assumed that I had all these highfalutin, very accomplished people that they would know exactly what to do. And well, what does assuming do? So ultimately, at the end of the day, I stepped away from that for personal reasons. I had a sick father, but that entire board ended up kind of dissipating, and I felt awful for theoretically wasting people's time or whatever. And that was on me for just the flat out configuration of setting it up and assuming these people who have moved mountains would do it for me again when I did not clarify the roles. Don't do it, folks.
I think that's so important.
It really is.
It really is.
All right, Jen, what's a mistake you've made that you don't want us to make?
Oh, where do I even start? I'm sure Greta is laughing off camera right.
This is how we grow.
Yes.
I literally have never claimed to know what I'm doing. So I have made lots of them. I mean, doing markets, then markets became such a thing and we were kind of pushed out of it, right? Because people can do it bigger and better when they have more funding. So that's one of the things that we kind of stopped doing. I created By Idaho Day right around COVID, right? How do you mobilize people? I'm going to be very careful what I say here. How do you mobilize people to go like to these local stores and patron them? And I created By Idaho Day, and 4 days before I launched it, Idaho Gems came out. So talk about a like stab to the heart. Here was like a big funded event that happened like right before ours. Our wholesale market. I mean, I tried to make it a community event in Caldwell, and in the evening on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Caldwell is a bedroom community. People do not come home from Boise until the evenings. So that portion of it fell on its face. However, all of those things, you cannot let them stop you. You just go back to the drawing board, you put your head down. And even if people are recreating what you do, I mean, that's a compliment. That means you're onto something, right? So if you just put your head down and you keep trucking and you have intent with what you're doing and you have the purpose behind it, everybody else who is a fly by night, who wants to swoop in and save the day for whatever it is, they will fall off. And then you will be the one that is left there continuing to do the work and continuing to keep your head down. And that is where reputation is built. Like when people realize that you're still going to be the one that is there, even when all of this glitz and glitter kind of goes away. Like you're still the little nonprofit that's chugging in the background and they say, "Oh, for $250 a year, why didn't I join this?" I don't know, why didn't you? It's super easy and it's super fun. We don't suck.
How about you, Bailey? What's a big
Um,
mistake you've made that other people don't need to recreate because you're going to tell us about it?
I make a lot of mistakes and I enjoy them because I adapt off them pretty fast. Other times they get worse and just rainbow effect. But one was make sure you just know who the people are, their names, who are helping you build your event and donating their time. At one event, I had a camera crew bring four employees and I forgot their company name and I forgot all their names. And so I was like, I'm just going to try to guess it in front of everyone.
Oh.
And I was close, it was the same amount of syllables, but he corrected me right there and I played it off and it was fine. And it just created a, authentic moment. It's hard to remember everyone's name, but just showing your appreciation after your mistakes is means a lot to them.
There two things I heard in the responses is humility and laughter. And using actually the other one is using those things to grow. So
Yeah.
I think as leaders, we all want to have that kind of the way we walk is in humility and humor, laughter, joy, and that we learn from it. I want to address what Caitlin put into the chat for just a minute because it's real and this stuff is hard. And so I'm asking, especially, Bailey, I know you've been doing it for about a year, so I'm going to direct this to Janet first because you've been in the trench for a long time. It's hard. How do you keep going?
Every day I think about what else could I do with my life? And then you go, this is kind of what I was put here to do, like helping people. So it is hard. You have to be creative. My mind is constantly going and trying to figure out new tacts and ways to help people and get to the community and bring new life to old ideas, right? Like we're not creating anything that's new.
Mhm.
Um, but what is going to engage the community and make them want to come and support? And really it's storytelling. I mean, it's engaging the community through the people that you're supporting. It is never about me. I will never post anything about me on stage. That's and she does that. She likes to embarrass me. But I will never post anything about myself, about being, a speaker someplace or, awards that I've received or anything like that. I don't even like talking in public. So to grab a microphone and tell other people's stories, it's so much easier. And you just have to keep going. You you can't give up. Just can't.
Blo-
Katie, you can't
Blossom, can I also tack on to Jen's comment and Caitlin's about work? This is my second nonprofit success lab, by the way, but the first time I think I've spoken up. It's really nice to be joining you on the call. I've been spent most of my career with large health systems, so some of the pain points of smaller nonprofits, while extremely empathetic and I think applicable to similar experiences that I have had, I probably haven't, always been at the table in the same way that you show up. But the idea that, it all seems so much work, and there's the grunt work of
Yep.
Oh, that was going to be good too.
It was.
Oh
when you're doing
Oh,
something
yeah.
that you're passionate about is always something that you question. And persistence and perseverance certainly is, I think, something, characteristics that are required in the talents and skills that we've got to bring to the table. And I'm reminded of, and it's cliche, I won't tell the whole thing, but I think probably everyone has heard the story of the boy on the beach that's throwing back the starfish into the ocean, right? And the old man comes by and says, "What are you doing? You can't, the beach is littered with starfish." I think this whole comment about, or this line of thinking about, just not getting down on yourself about whether or not you're making the difference that you can make, that story is, I think, a really great example to keep in mind is that, what was the boy's reaction? He bent down, he picked up another starfish and threw it back and said, "Well, it made a difference to that one." Humankind has never figured out how to solve all of our problems, and I don't know that we ever will, but we can certainly make a difference to those within our control. And some days we'll have more success, and others we won't. And we got to keep figuring out what works and what doesn't. But at the end of the day, it is a lot of work, but it's important work. And so I think we just have to show up and say, "Hey, which starfish can I pick up and throw back today?"
Little moves can make big impacts.
And don't forget, just those little touches via text or an email to somebody else that you know is struggling can make a world of difference. Just a little heart emoji, letting them know you're thinking about them. I've done that and I've received that just in the nick of time.
Bailey, how do you keep going? How do you keep doing this? Weathered, bitter, jaded veteran that you are in this arena.
Ah, I love it. Like I found something that fits my personality. I get fueled by other people. That's why I can go to a lot of networking events and continue on. And I hope, well, I won't stop. I really won't. But it's really a lot what Jen said is, you know, highlighting other people and giving people a voice. Speakers don't pay me to present, and I pick the speakers for who they are as a person, not for an ROI of helping Reese Connect or Talking Taco Grow, but just for them who they are. Maybe it's their first time public speaking, like giving them an opportunity. It doesn't matter what industry or how crazy your story is or whatever. It's just you as a person, giving you a platform to share who you are, what you do, but your personality too, and sharing that so you could be. And so that motivates me, and I love hearing people's stories because now you've known this person for 6 years, and now they've shared a snippet of something that was really personable, but just related. So that pushes me, and like it was a big accomplishment. Yes, 2 days ago I had my first event of the year at the Boise State Esports, and we had 130 people there. And that was our first event introducing a college student speaker who's a college student athlete, gamer. Her name's Jenny, nicknamed Daydream. She plays Overwatch, but she does their social media. She's an All-American. And hearing her present, like she was nervous beforehand, but her speech was amazing. And that's what I'm going to continue to do every event is give students the opportunity to share what they're doing. And so that's what keeps me going is I love people and hearing their journey and their story. So
Thank you. So I have a question that comes up often, in the work that I do because I am very aware of the things that I am good at and the things that I am not good at. And I love the opportunity to discover every day new things that I am not so good at. So there's no wrong or right answer to this, but I just love this question. What's more important when it comes to mobilizing people and getting them engaged? Is it your passion or is it your strategy?
I know for me, it's my passion for
Thank you.
sure.
Woo.
For sure. 100%. I have epilepsy. I've almost died several times. Um, and honestly, I just want to wake up every day knowing that I'm making a difference and taking in every moment that I have for that. So passion is what I wake up to every day. And it's a blessing.
I can tell you, Brienne, for me, it's a combination of both. I think early in my career, passion, I was relying on passion and caffeine. And I really, we talked about cutting through the noise, and I just really wanted to do a better job. I've kind of always been relational, and I always say 9.5 out of 10 people, I can get them to like me. So, like the relational side, if you do the strength finder, I was strong in all those. So, when Connie Miller asked me to kind of be her right hand person, I knew she was really strong on the strategy side of things. And what I can tell you is the passion's the fuel, that's the jet fuel, but the strategy was what to do with the jet fighter. And so strategy, was being intentional of, hey, if I strike a partnership with Zions Bank, I know that they have a heart for really, serving with their humans or whatever. So we can attach that. So that forward thinking of, playing chess with nonprofit type stuff is where the strategy came in. And so most people, I can tell you, if, and you might agree on this call, most people are either strong on one or the other. You're super relational and maybe not the most strategic or vice versa. And so work in your strengths, but then work on your areas of opportunity. That's been my biggest thing for me personally is passion's always been there. Strategy finally caught up and it's making me work more efficiently and the results are better. So
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Ken. Having clear, defined, like people are going to know what to expect when they work with us. They know we're doing the capital show. They know we're doing wholesale. They know we're providing education. They know we're providing networking, right? And then the structure is there for all of the things that we do. We have the directory, we do our social media, we do our connections behind the scenes, right? They know what to expect for the most part from our strategy and our structure. And then we bring the passion for being there and engaging in the moment when we have our people and making sure knowing our people. I cannot stress this enough, knowing our people, right? Knowing that Ken needs to meet somebody that's going to fulfill something that he's trying to accomplish. Making those connections organically ish, but because you know your people and going out of your way to make those connections for people is I mean that's where passion is, right? I mean like that's what Bailey's talking about. That's where he gets his buzz, right? I mean like making sure that those people are connected and I don't like being called a connector because it sounds really gross to me. Like, but but knowing people and knowing what they need and really taking the time to have that knowledge. I mean, that's where passion comes from, right? I mean, you help them fulfill whatever their goal is, and I get excited about it. And then they go and they say, like, that was awesome, and they'll connect people with us so that we can do the same thing for them. It's just the ripple effect of what happens when you do good in the community is it goes on for so long.
Well said. Bailey, is it passion or strategy?
It's both. Um, and I'd say heavy on the strategy side. I can't do my passion without a heavy strategy, trying to balance everything out and just to make it all work. And like I don't know, I'm just gonna say it, but I wanted to share an opportunity with everyone on this call. I am starting the brainstorm of my first charity event, and I'll be doing it in the summer. It will be a disc golf tournament, and um, I haven't reached out to these nonprofits yet, but 100% of the proceeds will go to them. I'm going to do advocates against family violence and foster of heart, so domestic violence and foster care. So if you want to help, partner, sponsor, I've never done a charity event. I've been to them, so anyone is welcome. I'm sure they'll share our contact information after this, but we'll love any help if you're interested. Thanks.
And we have a great question in the chat. Blossom, if you wanted to direct us to that.
Sure. If you wouldn't mind giving us your one practical tip for mobilizing and your one self-care tip, your go-to self-care tip. I think those are super important for leaders across the nonprofit sector is to be caring for themselves so that you can care for your passion and your purpose. If we do not care for ourselves, then we'll be in a short game. So share those and then we'll share those out. So, Brian, is it okay if I take it home or do you want to?
Yeah, take us home.
Okay. Travis, I know you had something maybe that you wanted to say real quick. Travis is one of our board members. He's one of our newer board members, and he brings a tremendous amount of wealth of knowledge and experience. So, did you have something you wanted to say before I wrapped it up?
No, you go ahead. I was able to contribute something a little bit earlier. I think Bailey hit on something that I was going to contribute mostly. So, no, great discussion today. It was really nice to be
Okay.
part of it.
So always be looking for those strategic partnerships. There are people out there that will partner with you and it will be a right fit. But make sure we have tools, we have assessments, all kinds of things that can help you find the right partner so that you don't end up getting sideways and donors don't end up, going, oh, what are they doing? So be careful, but go find your strategic partners. The second thing is at noon today, we have our Q1 crew meetup for Idaho Partners for Good. We will be going deeper into all the stuff we're talking about today. But if you need a consulting team, that is how we fund ourselves. So we've got people who can do strategy, executive leadership, operations, all the people things, all the ops things. And so if you run into trouble and you need a consultant, please let us know. People like Brian here that are ready to go. And with that, we are the helpers. What is that? What is that quote, Brian, from Fred Rogers?
Look for the helpers. Whenever you see bad things happening, always look for the helpers, and you'll always find the helpers.
And that's us. So have a wonderful day.
Thank
Thank
you
you all
guys so
so much for
much.
joining us today.